This video is an opinion piece, ergo nothing I'm saying should be taken as fact. I'm exercising my right to freedom of speech under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act. So dear viewer, I ask you to cast your mind back to 2020 and the first COVID lockdowns. It was at that time I realised that through social media I had befriended many lunatics. You remember the types, the anti-vaxxers and the conspiracy theorists. And of course, if people didn't want to be vaccinated, that was their business. But I couldn't stand the liars. The people saying that the 5G phone network was some sort of weapons system. Or the people who were making out that if you went down to the end of the road, you may encounter Bill Gates laughing maniacally with a syringe in each hand and a bin bag full of microchips. It was around that time that the tinfoil hat wearing fucktards started flooding social media with what they thought were passages from George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, in such a way to be abundantly clear that none of them had read it. Having fun was banned. Meeting friends was banned. Dancing and music were banned. Only work was not banned. That was quoted as being from 1984, and it's bollocks. In the opening chapters of the novel, which I have read, the protagonist, Winston, goes to the cinema and to the pub. 1984, for anyone who hasn't read it, is a book about communism and totalitarian government. An actual quote? The opening line from the novel is, "It was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. But even though the lockdowns were an absolute nightmare, at the time I had some sympathy for the British government. This was unprecedented. There hadn't been a worldwide pandemic since the Spanish flu that came about at the end of the First World War. All that sympathy has since gone, since it transpired that whilst the plebs were sat at home at Christmas, at number 10 they were having a fucking great time. But the reason I've been thinking about 1984 is, in my opinion, the current Labour government are becoming increasingly Orwellian, because in the UK we're about to get the thought police. For the benefit of anyone watching from outside the UK, in my opinion, the state of British policing is pretty dire, to the point that if you get home and find that your house has been burgled, or burglarised for people watching in the New World, the chances are the police won't even turn up. You, as the homeowner, will just be given a crime number to give to your insurance company. But the police are forming a new elite unit to monitor social media. So they don't turn up for actual crimes, but they've got time to see what people are posting on Twitter. And this unit will be looking for anyone posting anti-migrant rhetoric. So, illegal immigrants, who by the nature of the way they've come into the country are criminals, Plod can spare the time to protect them, and will now be actively targeting any British citizens who want to speak up about it. This is linked to the worry that Britain may have a summer of discontent. That's rioting, as many people in the UK have had enough of masses of undocumented fighting-age young men breaking into the country, living off the taxpayer and molesting all the women and girls they can get their hands on. So, in my opinion, liar Stalin's corrupt Labour government are doing what they do well, ruling by fear and ignoring the will of the electorate, the very people who put them in power. What a shower of bastards! Where's it going to get to? Will it get to the point that a husband will hear a very loud knock at the door, open said door to a dozen heavily armed police officers and say, "Darling, have you been on Facebook saying something critical about the regime?" And it's amazing that the stormtroopers don't have time to investigate real crimes, but they can find the time to escort a load of left-wing agitators to get things to kick off at a peaceful protest. And now they've got the time to scroll through social media to find out if Covenant number 47 has said some hurty words because his daughter has been indecently assaulted by an Afghan. Also, this weekend in the UK, the online safety bill came into being, which means that anyone from the UK who wants to view online pornography has to now prove that they're an adult. So let's put this in context. People who come to this country in small boats, who throw away their documents so we have no way of identifying them, they are given a hotel room, 3 meals a day, unlimited cigarettes, spending money, driving lessons and tickets to the football. But if you fancy a wank, we need to see your papers. To me, it feels Orwellian. The authorities want to monitor everything we say online. Britain is the most surveilled country in the entire world. We have the highest peacetime taxes ever. Not only that, but foreign criminals get less time in prison for molesting women and children than a woman got for posting one tweet that she then deleted. Add to that, the place looks like the third world because we're being flooded with jihadis and mentally subnormal sub-Saharan Africans. But the Lionesses won the Euros at the weekend, so everything's okay.
And I'm so proud to be English. What was...
That's Chloe Kelly from the victorious England women's team, saying that she's proud to be English. What a fascist! Chloe, did you not get the memo? Any form of national pride has now been banned. Starmer will label her as a far-right thug. What do female footballers and Keir Starmer have in common? They both get beaten by teenage boys, allegedly. Oh, and Donald Trump is currently in Scotland, overseeing some of his golf courses. So here's a clip of a gentleman on a plane flying from England to Scotland so that people from outside the UK can see what we're putting up with.
Going to bomb the plane! Dead to America! Dead to Trump! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
I've had to cut that clip short because very shortly after that things get violent as passengers tackle the man to, well, not the ground, they're flying. So clearly that gentleman doesn't have a British accent, yet he was able to get on board an aircraft and then claim he had a bomb. But the police need a dedicated unit to see if there are people in the UK complaining about pricks like that. Had it not been for the heroes tackling the potential terrorist, God knows what would have happened. Now it transpired he didn't have a bomb, he's just a wanker. But if the same thing had happened in the street, it would have been all over the news, and those gentlemen who tackled the potential terrorist would be labelled as far right. And if after a hard day's work, you decide you want to watch some Eastern European ladies interfering with each other on their webcam, the state needs your details. But if you come here illegally and want to earn money as a food delivery rider, no checks whatsoever. So the Online Safety Act is meant to stop children from seeing harmful material. But if you go on a peaceful protest demanding that children be protected from men who have no right to be here, then it's time for the riot shields. Is it only me that thinks this doesn't make any fucking sense? Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you can leave a like, a comment or share the video, that really helps the algorithm. If you would like to support me in making these videos, and thank you to everyone who's done so already, there are links in the description to buy me a coffee and to my Patreon, and as ever, thanks for watching. It's their business, but I couldn't stand the liars. The people who were saying things like the 5G mobile phone system was some sort of weapon. To those people, what fucking network are you on now? This time that the tinfoil hat wearing brigade started sharing what they thought were, fuck it. My favourite novels is George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984. And in the UK, we now have the interactive experience. Novel, Winston works for the Ministry of Truth, and his job is whenever big, fuck it, bollocks. In the novel, Winston's job is at the Ministry of Truth, and what he has to do is every time that Big Brother says something that contradicts some, oh fucking bollocks to it. When Big Brother says something which contradicts something he's previously said, Winston has to go back into the archives and alter it. If we had someone doing that with Starmer, fuck me, they'd be getting some overtime. So that's Chloe Kelly. I have no idea what position she plays. Because to be blunt, the only thing I care about less than football is women's football. That being said, the women don't fall over like they've been shot every time someone taps their shoulder. So that gentleman, bollocks. I had to cut, well, fuck that up as well.